I hate hearing.
I'm telling you, bro. My $300 Rode mics sounded great.
Well, it sounds like I have to buy them now. Okay, ready?
No. What is up, faction? Today is a special day, special episode for me. Pretty much this episode's going to be the send-off for my beautiful B8.5 2015 Audi S5. I've had this car, I think 5.5, almost 6 years now. So I bought this, I think, back in 2018. Let me think about that for 1 second. It might have been 2017. So somewhere between 5 and 7 years. I don't know.
2017.
I think it was 2017. No, yeah, I've had it for 6 years now. It'll be 7 years in February. So I've had this car for quite a while. I bought it at 42,000 miles, and right now I just passed over 134,000 miles. How many miles is that?
It's about
95-ish?
Yeah, that's
92,000 miles. Did I do that math right? Over 90,000 miles. I've had it, and it's been my daily driver the whole time. Just recently I picked up a 2023 Ford Bronco, been dailing that. This has been sitting in the garage. And I've had this car listed now for probably like a year and a half, honestly, for sale. Jared's been trying to help me sell it, but honestly, I've just had a hard time kind of following through with anyone that was serious, and the majority of people just weren't serious. So, but at this point, this week, I have a guy who's planning on coming in from Houston on Friday. So he's very serious, super excited. He wants to buy this for his son. His son's first car. I think his son's in high school. Honestly, I think he's a sophomore. I think he said. Regardless, his son wants a fun coupe with a manual transmission. So yeah. Anyways, I've been talking with him, and I think it's just time to move on from this. When I bought this car, put a lot of time into deciding what I wanted to buy. I test drove, I think, 17 cars, and I fell in love with this chassis. The first one I drove was a S4. It was the automatic, and even that one, I knew if the manual was even as good as that automatic felt, and I knew it'd be better just because it was a manual. So
Yeah. So what else were you cross shopping this with when you were looking at other cars? What else?
Yeah, I test drove quite a bit of different cars.
15, right?
Yeah. Did I say
I
15?
think so.
I think 17. I think
Yeah.
I test drove 17 different cars. I actually have the list, but on my phone. I was keeping track of it. The top 3 on the list, though, was a C7 Corvette. C7 Corvette and a Civic Type R.
Yeah, and that was right when was the FK8, right?
Yes.
Was that chat? Yeah, that
Yeah.
just come out, right?
Yeah, so I think it was, pretty much right after they came out. My one of my buddies had one, a 2017. It was white,
Yeah.
super clean,
A Honda Type
and he
R.
let me test drive it. Which at the time was kind of hard to do because
Mhm.
they were just rolling out, kind of rare. But he let me drive it, and it was fantastic. I for a front wheel drive car, I was a fan, and super clean.
Just wasn't no $45,000 Civic, right?
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. So, but it was between that and the Corvette. I've been wanting a Corvette for
right?
quite a while.
The
So
C7, right?
yeah,
You're looking at
C7.
kind of like a Stingray in one of those.
Yeah,
What turned
exactly.
you away from that?
Um, that was probably the path I would have gone. And then, Jarrett was telling me. I mean, the thing I was telling Jarrett about was, he was trying to help me figure out what other options I had. And I told him I want high horsepower, pretty high horsepower. Something that's quick, uh, manual transmission, and I wanted something with a linear power curve. So I wasn't really wanting something turbo.
Mhm.
And at the time, our buddy Jason, he had a 2008 Audi RS4.
Okay.
So Jarrett was like, "Bro, talk to Jason, talk to Sean. They have Audis, and you're gonna get that linear power
Those
that
were
you're
the
interested."
V8 sedans, right?
Correct,
Right?
correct.
Okay,
Yeah. So basically the Audi R8 engine.
Right.
And so he was saying, hey, if you talk to them, but you might want to look at the B8.5 S4, S5 cars because you could get them in the manual, 333 horsepower stock, supercharged V6, so linear power curve, and that's what I was liking out of the Corvette was just that linear power delivery.
power
Exactly. So yeah, he said take a look at the B8.5. I think you'll be a fan. And so I found one the next day for to go test drive. It was an S4 at CarMax. I figured I'd just go check it out, and loved everything about it. The interior, the quality, it just felt great. Like I said, it was an automatic, but I knew if the manual would be better than how that automatic felt. But I really loved the power delivery on that S4. And so I knew the S5 was going to be something great. And so then that pretty much started the search
Yeah.
for the S5.
And 100,000 miles, so you drove it. What is right? Everything right for you, right? It was pretty much the perfect car.
I think so. I don't think at the price point there is at the time, at least, even now, it's hard to find something for me that beats it.
And what did you pay for this?
So I bought this for $32,500.
Okay.
So the sticker price was $62,000 approximately. This is the 2015 S5 Prestige package with the Napa leather, all black, but it's the 6-speed manual with the sport diff. So that's
Nice.
really the trim that and the what you're looking for when you're looking for these is to get that sport diff.
Definitely, yeah. That'll change. Yeah.
Yeah, so 32.5 about. I bought it out in Tucson. I drove down there, test drove it, and then I shipped it back. And silver wasn't my first choice. I was really wanting. I was looking for white. Probably white, black, or red were the three colors that I was kind of interested in. But this one came up and it was super, super clean. Pretty low mileage, 42,000 miles. So everything was checking out on it. I did the history search and made sure that everything was clean and was happy with that. And all the pictures that I was seeing in videos were just coming back clean. So I figured for the price point, it was pretty solid.
Yeah, and over the time of owning it, did you really do anything with it? Did you just kind of keep it stock the whole time, or?
Definitely have done some mods. Not a ton performance-wise. It has a Stage 1 tune, 034 Motorsports tune. Let's see, that bumps it up. It's really just a remap. So it's remapping the.
That's what's always good on a performance
Exactly,
vehicle,
and so so it takes it from 333 horsepower to 400 and I think 29 horsepower, and it bumps up the torque. I think to 379 foot-pounds. I think so.
Good, perfect number for a street car.
Exactly, and all-wheel drive.
People get caught up, I think, too much in numbers nowadays, and they don't really know what stuff feels like. But that's really the perfect number on the street that you can use and be fast and have a good time, I feel like.
Yeah, exactly. And that tune also remaps it changes the red line. So it brings it up from, I think, 6,900 to 7,200.
Yeah.
So it revs pretty high.
Yeah.
And, the power delivery is just fantastic. It's just, on an all-wheel drive Audi, the torque kicks in pretty low. And
I agree.
yeah, and this, with the supercharger, it does pick up, and this car's a blast. I love it.
blast,
I love this
absolutely.
car so much.
And it just, yeah, it feels a lot quicker than you would think, especially for the numbers, considering the weight, just everything like number wise on it. It feels a lot quicker than that.
Yeah.
It's a quick car.
Yeah, it's very quick, and we've been talking about it. We've compared it to the Shelby, the GT350,
Mm-hmm.
and this thing, handling wise, like, this thing feels light. Like that Shelby, it felt kind of heavy. It felt a
And
little
that's
bit like a
and
boat.
it weighs less. You know, if you look at the numbers, the Shelby weighs less. But when you're driving the Shelby, when you're sitting in the passenger seat, in the driver's seat especially though,
Yep.
and you turn the wheel, you feel not only like the weight of the turn, and it has fat ass front tires, so you could feel that first, but you feel the mass rotating around you. It's just a big, heavy car, and this car doesn't feel like that.
This car doesn't. You take this on a turn. I could take this on some on the roads with some high speed turns here, and this thing just feels planted. It's on rails. The all-wheel drive just continues to pull, and it feels a lot lighter than it is. I think this is a bit over 4,000 pounds, or right about, like, somewhere between 3,900 and I think 4,100,
Right.
somewhere around there. But it feels light. It feels lighter than it really is. So it's a pretty fun car to drive.
You put 100,000 miles on it. This was your only car you had pretty much the whole time, right? This
Yeah.
was your only car, so your daily.
Yep.
So we live in New Mexico, so it's normally pretty okay, but we do get shitty times where it could
Yeah.
just be a bunch of rain really suddenly, or
Yep.
snow really suddenly. And how is it having a performance coupe?
I think that's
your only
I think
vehicle.
that's the coolest part. You could drive this like a sports car all year round. If it's snowing out, I just hop in the Audi and I have no worries. People are driving like 20, 25 miles per hour, and I'm moving, and this car is still planted. There's been times where I've taken a turn too fast in the snow, and the tail kicks out, and that Quattro all-wheel drive system just sucks it back, and you're on rails with in a fraction of a second. So, in the rain, super fun to drive. There's no, the other day it was raining hard. We're heading home, and there's no
Yeah,
problem. I
nothing.
just hit that curve and just was
Yeah.
accelerating through it.
50, 60 on ramp. Like, it's not only does it do that, but it also is confidence inspiring to drive it and feel like that. Like, you drive some of these other cars and you just feel nervous, like driving
Yeah.
them in certain conditions, like that Mustang, for example.
Exactly.
If it's raining,
Yeah, you're babying it. You're
you're
like,
babying it. You're gonna go 50 miles an hour on the highway, and you're not gonna go faster than that because you're gonna be afraid of hydroplaning, and
exactly.
it's I don't know. It's a handful, and it's great. Like I said, we get caught up in these numbers of 500 horsepower at this, but like, I know personally, the time that I drove that car and I was able to get it onto a road where you can get up to speed, you didn't get out of third gear. Like, you don't drive it. You can't
Yeah.
drive it. It's too much.
Exactly. All right, guys, hold on. It's getting a little rowdy out here. Raining kind of hard.
So why did you get rid of it, man? Like, why are we moving on from the car?
Why are we here?
Yeah, let's tell the people why we're having this video.
Well, the bottom line is, I think I've enjoyed this car enough.
Yeah,
I've put a lot of miles on it.
Mhm.
Driven it, almost 100,000 miles
Right.
myself. Dailied it for almost 7 years now, and I think it's time for something new. Time to move on to a new project. And I mean, I don't know if I wouldn't really consider this a project, but it's been a great car,
Yeah,
a great
it's a great
daily.
vehicle.
I have some, in my opinion, some tasteful mods. Got the RS5 style front grille. The carbon fiber
Diffuser.
rear diffuser. Thank you. And they're, besides that, I mean, I think those. Oh, we got these are, open honeycomb style fog light inserts. The OEM ones are solid. You still see the honeycomb, but I think aesthetically, besides the wheels, that's all I did to the exterior. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. Did some Other modifications on it, it's sitting on ST coilovers. It's got the 034 Motorsport adjustable upper and lower control arms. Yeah, like
Yeah,
the
solid
yeah,
transmission mount. Okay, yeah,
exactly,
so it's got a
exactly.
solid transmission mount. It's a good upgrade a lot of times with some of these all-wheel drive cars because of the way just the way they kind of mount everything. You can do that, and it's something that'll improve performance.
Yeah, so we got that. We got the JHM short throw shifter with I think right now I have it set on the shortest throw. When I first installed it, I put it on the, I think there's only two throw settings, but I think I had it at the either the higher one or I don't really remember. But right now it's on the shortest throw, and then it has a custom sport shifter shift knob, and looks and feels fantastic. This transmission feels good.
Yeah, it
The
does.
shifter feels great. The weight on it feels fantastic. Everything about it, I love it.
Yeah, this is a great daily. This is a great daily
Yeah,
car.
it's besides being a two-door, I think it's a perfect daily. I
Yeah.
mean, and that was one thing that I wanted. I wanted a two-door, so
Well, that too. Like, if you want a two door, you can daily a two door. It's
yeah,
like you said, like it could be a
yeah,
downside to some people, but some
right,
people just want to have a coupe. So it's like
exactly. I mean, the thing is, like for me, I'm usually driving by myself,
exactly,
so I really don't
exactly,
need the
yeah.
extra extra
Hmm.
doors. It still has rear seats, so I could fit four people in this car and get around when we have to. There's not a lot of space behind the driver's seat. I'll admit that, but
But you're not doing that every day.
exactly, that's occasionally, and people could fit.
Exactly, it fit
So
fine.
yeah, so I mean, besides that, I think it's just time to move on. I'm ready for something new. I don't exactly know what that new thing is. We've kind of been discussing what options I have and where I'll go next. But for now, I think that I just kind of want to shift my focus onto the Datsun build, the 240Z, try to get that finished,
I
and
was gonna say, yeah.
selling this will
I think that new thing is
clear.
your Z. Yeah,
I
I
think that's
was.
what it is, and I think that'll keep me occupied for now while I'm driving the Bronco around.
Yeah,
So that's kind of what I'm thinking.
that's perfect. Honestly, like now exactly that you have that Bronco, you'll have a little bit more liquid that you can work on the car. I think now is the perfect time to kind of finish it and get it done, or
Yeah,
get it to a point where you could get it back on the road again and
right.
start messing around with it at least.
Yeah, that's my thought right now. Every time I look at this thing, though, I do question why I'm selling it. Like, I think the B8.5 is a timeless look. I think they really nailed it. I think Audi, uh, peak Audi right here. This thing just is beautiful. It's sitting right. I have on those ST coilovers. It's sitting good. I like the ride height, and the fitment on these Rohanas are great. So just all around, I think this is a fantastic car. There were, I had more plans for this car. Obviously, it's stage one, as I've mentioned, so it would have been cool and interesting to go up to a stage two, make a little bit more power, maybe dual pulley setup on it, and but those going stage two requires quite a bit more performance
Yeah,
upgrade. So
usually, I don't know. Obviously, I'm not a huge Audi cat, but I know certainly with like some of these boosted applications, they're only like a pulley swap away. But that pulley swap comes with you need to go upgrade your fuel system
intercooler,
and a cooler usually so that it can cool. Just everything that comes with the car has to get upgraded. So when you're making more power, it's not as simple as a lot of people think. Like, oh, it's
yeah,
just a pulley swap away.
yeah.
Yeah, it'll make the power, but it's gonna make the power for about 10 minutes before it starts overheating, especially over here. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that goes into upgrading cars the right way. If you're not just trying to do it, I should say. If you were trying to do it the correct way, there's a lot that
And that
goes
was the
into it.
thing, was like, I needed this to be reliable. I was going to be dailing it, and
Mhm.
I didn't have another vehicle at the time, so I just, stage one, just a ECU remap was all I really needed to get a little bit extra power. I mean, in 300, I mean, it boosted up almost 100 horsepower.
Yeah,
So
I feel too like especially with a car like this that's like you said when you can wake it up with a tune, this thing's plenty quick already.
yeah,
And you're not making the car work harder by giving it more power, more torque, which in turn is just harder on the car. It's not what the car was engineered for, you know what I mean? And it's going to reduce that reliability standpoint. You can't have a car that's going to maintain the reliability while you make that power. So when you have a daily like that, I think everything you did to it is perfect, right?
yep.
Like
Yeah, I mean, really not too much. Everything was pretty easy, just bolt on mods. I mean, all the suspension stuff was a huge upgrade, I say,
Hmm.
from a handling perspective.
Right.
But besides that, it was a tune, and then the cold air intake, the CTS turbo open air intake,
Yeah,
and
just open air element
and
intake.
the sound, supercharger whine, I think
Yeah, you can't.
sounds good.
Hmm. It does. That's certainly my favorite sounding engine setup is a positive displacement supercharger on top of
Yeah.
a V6 or V8 motor.
Right.
It just sounds so good, you know.
Yeah, I say that the things that I wanted to do to this car that I never got around to, I wanted to go with the ECS valved exhaust.
Hmm.
Those sound really good.
Yeah, just have the
Yeah,
ability
get
to
just
open it up whenever you'd like.
exactly. So
And
I wanted to do an exhaust. That would have been nice. And um, besides that, I wanted to get the carbon fiber hood with that
right,
swoop
yeah, I've
inside.
seen a
Yeah,
couple
it
times you showed me that
looks
hood, and
crisp and
it does look crisp.
super
Hopefully, we'll
super
throw a
clean.
picture up somewhere around here. But that thing, there's certain parts, like that that'll
Yeah.
just really make
Trans
the lines, yeah, just
Transform it, yeah.
exaggerate the
And
lines, and
exactly, it works with the lines. It flows. So I wanted to do an exhaust. I wanted that hood, and then there's this splitter that who makes it? I think it's XUK. I think it's their splitter,
hmm,
and I've never seen someone with it on.
yeah, we'll hopefully throw
But
up another picture of that
yeah,
here. But
and I've only ever seen it on their website, but I've never seen someone
someone
actually do
actually
it.
run it,
And
yeah,
I reached out and they said it was made to order, so I just man, I just never did it. And
yeah,
but it's nice because it goes with the thing everyone does on these cars is they go to the RS5 front bumper.
right,
And so what that does is it brings it flat across the bottom
hmm,
and a much larger intake, open area right
right. You have
here.
areas for
Yeah, and
breathing.
it eliminates the fog lights.
Hmm.
But I mean, and everyone does that. But for me, I like this bumper.
Yeah,
But the splitter that they have comes and it fits flush with this,
right.
and then it follows this curve up and follows this.
Oh, okay.
So it's definitely
Yeah, just a different look.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a different look that I haven't seen anyone take, and so that was something that I wanted to do, but just never got around to it. Been a little busy with other things, so. But from a drivability standpoint, this car I think's it's all you need. With it's pretty much ready to go out the box and open it up with that, wake it up a bit with the remap, and
No,
yeah, it's
definitely. This
fantastic.
this was something that I wasn't really aware of, that these were kind of out there, I guess, so to speak. And they're definitely a car that I feel like more people should take a look at and
Yeah,
give a chance, I guess you could say, because they're might surprise you. They're very interesting.
and the interior quality, like
It's Audi, it's got an Audi interior. It's a nice looking coupe, and the performance of it is just it's for a daily car. Personally, at this point in my life, I know that I wouldn't need anything more.
right,
This would get me in trouble every
easy,
day.
yeah.
Every day you could get yourself already in trouble.
And the thing that's also cool about it is, this thing, if you're not looking for it, it flies under the radar.
Exactly.
Especially with the silver color.
Exactly.
I could be moving and you're not gonna notice me. With the exhaust isn't screaming.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds great inside because we got that supercharger whine, but I'm pretty much flying under the radar, and no one's gonna look the other way, unless you are looking for it.
Yeah, if
You
you
know what
know
I
what
mean?
you're looking
It's
for, you're gonna see that
kind
and
of
be like, "Oh, that's
kind
bad."
of
But
hiding in plain sight.
that's
So
exactly. Yeah, these are definitely something that more people need to take a look at and put on their list of cars that they'll consider buying when they're shopping
especially
cars,
at the price point right now,
especially at the
under
particular price point
20K.
right now.
Over 400 horsepower, all-wheel drive with the manual.
Yeah,
Luxury
yeah,
German engineering.
exactly. A
You
luxury
just
vehicle.
cannot beat that.
Yeah, and like he said, it's a tune away from 400, over 400 at the crank, which to all four wheels, and this car doesn't feel as heavy as it is. I know when you look at the weight, it's like it's kind of heavy though. This thing moves. It moves you the way you want to move. It has all-wheel drive, so it's a little quicker than some other stuff. Like your
Right.
rear-wheel drive platform is a little easier to drive and be quick with, if that
Yep.
makes sense. But
Right.
yeah, this thing is fun. It's a very capable car.
Yeah, certainly. and it's been good to me. You know, there's um not too much that kind of went wrong with it. There were a couple things here and there, but that's kind of expected on a over 100,000 mile.
Yeah, we should actually get into that real quick. So, in the ownership of the vehicle, like we've gone over a couple times, we put over 100,000 miles on the car, or right around 100,000 miles on the car in the high 90s.
Right.
So, what have you had to do to keep it running and keep it good mechanically?
Yeah, good question. Obviously I kept up with all my oil change maintenance, everything,
Yep, every
all
3,000
that sort of
miles.
stuff. And I was doing 100. I did an oil change every 10,000 miles from 40 to 100,000,
Oh, okay.
and then I went to 5,000 miles
Okay.
after 100K.
I see. I see.
So I've been doing every 5,000 miles now for the last seven oil
People,
changes.
that is a testament to the reliability of these engines because that kind of shocked me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you, people.
Hey, Audi recommends 10K. 10K.
Hey, if that's what Audi recommends, then they obviously know what they're talking about. So,
And
like,
so,
yeah,
I
that's a testament to the way these cars are engineered, honestly, because most vehicles, they're not gonna want that. They're gonna want your oil to be changed a little bit more frequently than that.
I would do I would put on about 20,000 miles a year.
Yeah,
So I was doing an oil change twice a year,
yeah,
every 6 months.
yeah, and
But still, I mean, yeah,
and
usually.
that's crazy, guys. Just not a lot of cars are gonna stand up to that. This car has been kind of driven.
Yeah.
It runs fine. You wouldn't
It
know
feels
it.
great, yeah.
It's fantastic. It runs great. To put 100,000 miles on a car in, like how long has it been?
Like 6+ years.
Yeah, about 6 years is a little bit more than average. And from a car like this,
Right.
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
There's
High horsepower.
yeah, exactly. There's WRXs, STIs that they make less power than this, and if you were trying to, you certainly couldn't beat on them the way that Joe beats on this. That's I think is the
Right.
best thing. Like
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say he's hard on the car.
I don't abuse the car.
He doesn't
but
abuse
I
the car,
drive
but he
it-
drives the
I
car.
drive it how it's supposed to be driven.
Yeah, exactly, and that's yeah, it's not a bad thing. That's how you drive the car. That's
Right.
how I drive cars. That's how you're supposed to drive the car. It's not saying you're supposed to get in that.
I'm not redlining.
Yeah,
it all the
redlining
time.
it, but you definitely shouldn't be shifting at 3,000 RPM either. In second and third gear, like let it rev out. Drive the car, and he does that, and the car appreciates it. It just
Yeah.
it wants to keep going. It doesn't sweat at it at all.
Yeah.
It's not a cool state here.
Right.
It's high elevation. It's very basically the worst for cars, to be honest.
Yeah, really.
It's the worst. The worst.
Environment,
It sucks. And this thing has just ate it up and kept going.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was doing, like I said, 10,000 miles on the dot. I'd take it in for an oil change.
Oil change.
I was not doing it myself. I have a forever powertrain warranty.
Yeah.
So, I was just taking it in for the oil change. We did all the modifications we did ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But oil changes, I take it in just to get that documented.
Right. Yeah. It's
and
on the
keep that
tracks. Yep,
warranty,
exactly.
just in case something came up. And but after I hit the 100,000 mark,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right, I'm gonna drop down to 5K because it's getting up there in mileage.
Yeah, it becomes a high mileage motor
Yeah.
at that point, and just treating it different.
Yeah.
At that point, honestly, just the way these are engineered, the manufacturer isn't expecting it to get to that. So, like,
Right.
at that point, you got to start kind of
Babying it
changing
taking
things
care
up
of
a
it
little bit. Yeah,
more,
changing things up a little bit with the way you.
Besides that, I'm trying to think. We went through a couple of different brake jobs. We did those here in the shop.
Mhm.
You've seen some of those videos.
Yeah, some brakes.
So brakes and
A water
went through-
pump or no?
Yeah, water pump.
Water
I
pump.
think the water pump twice.
2 times.
Two
Okay.
times.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
That's
I think the first one was early on, and
Uh-huh.
then the second one was last year.
so you could say maybe like every 70,000 miles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. All right. And that's just a fail point. So that's
I
a
mean,
part
that's kind of
that.
expected.
Yeah. If you're driving 10,000 a year, that's a 7 years part.
I did a
water
clutch
pump.
job.
Clutch job,
I did
which
a clutch job.
and when did you have to do that?
That one was at 110,000 miles.
And have you done it since?
No.
No. See, so
No.
like this.
And I think there was a clutch job done at like 30,000.
I'm
Yeah.
sure that sounds about
The
right.
first
but-
owner, I think, and then it lasted me a good 70,000 miles.
Yeah, so that's a testament to the fact that he doesn't beat the shit out of the car and knows how to drive it. All right, his
Yeah,
clutch isn't
yeah.
dead.
He's doing good.
Yeah.
And it actually didn't really necessarily need it at the time. I was at the point. What was it? There was a reason why I did it. I know that I ended up doing the master and slave cylinder with that job.
Okay.
I was having like an ignition type problem where it wasn't starting up, but it ended up being on the sensor for the clutch pedal.
Oh, interesting. A small
And
sensor
so I
failure.
was thinking it was a
Your
part
of
of
your clutch
the
system, so
clutch
you bought a
system.
clutch. Okay.
And so I did had the clutch system done, and then figured out that it was actually just the sensor,
Sensor.
I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, that job, the clutch master and slave, I think was like $4,500 if I'm
Wow.
remembering correctly.
And
And
that's
and so at
not
that point at 110, I was like, okay, either I'm gonna do this job, or I'm gonna sell the car. And
okay.
I said, if I'm gonna do the job, I'm just gonna keep it forever. And so I doubled down, did the job, decided to keep it, and then here we are. That was not what ended up happening. So, but yeah, at the time, I guess my point was, the clutch wasn't really complete. I mean, it was still had a decent amount of life in it. I decided just to kind of do it while I was doing. I think that there was, I think one of this, I think it was the slave cylinder that needed. I can't remember. Something was going on with the system.
So
Yeah. So
in the 100,000 miles, it's gotten a clutch which it maybe didn't need.
yeah.
It's gotten a sensor, a brake master, the booster,
No.
just the master, and
I
the
think
clutch
just the
master. You
clutch
said, right?
master. Yeah.
The brake master and the clutch master, 2 water pumps. Again, I know people that have had to do more maintenance on their Mustangs in 100,000 mile intervals.
I
So
had an issue with the accessory belt. So I got a new accessory belt. The engine mounts, the OEM engine mounts are like fluid filled,
right.
and I've had to do that job twice.
Oh, okay.
But luckily that was covered under my powertrain
There
warranty.
you go.
Yeah, so
So
and that's a $2,000 job.
yeah, exactly.
So
That's nice. You have that
but
warranty.
and the thing that I did on this second time doing it was I went to some 034 Motorsports street line density
Oh yeah,
solid
nice.
mount.
So that's not gonna
So
be a problem.
there's not a problem going forward.
I see.
I probably should have done that the first time around, but
Right, but you
you know,
you live and you learn.
and that was early on too, so it's those lasted quite a while, probably a good 60, 70K
Yeah.
since the
It
first
sounds
time.
like that's probably when the manufacturer engineered for like certain parts to start failing
Just yeah,
around that
exactly.
70,000 mile mark, and
Right.
that's just something that cars, that's something that's normal with cars. These cars aren't meant to run for 1 million miles, so they all have a fail point at some point, and it's usually a little bit right beyond when you're going to be out of warranty.
Right.
And these German cars, they don't even warranty for that long. So the fact
Yeah.
that it's BMW does you worse. Just know that.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
No, it's been good. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else. Can't really think of anything else that's kind of been a major problem. Um, yeah, we did the suspension. I think it might have been like 870 to somewhere between 70 and 90K. We did the suspension, dropped it on
Right.
the coilovers.
Mm-hmm.
It's been handling great since.
Yeah, this thing feels like it's on rails. It feels like a go-kart,
It really does. For
you,
its weight, it's crazy.
if you told me this car weighed 3,400 pounds, I'd believe you all day. And it's closer to the 4,000 mark.
Right.
So yeah. So we gotta wrap this up. We're gonna chop the editing up a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, what has been your ownership review? How do you feel leaving it now that you're getting rid of it? This was a positive experience, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm happy with my decision to get this car. I think that it's been everything that I was looking for, and I'm super happy with how it turned out. You know, admittedly, I put a lot of money into maintenance. It's a German vehicle, so
Yeah.
you know, a lot of money went into maintenance.
Mhm.
I'm gonna try to see if I could kind of
Yeah, we'll
backtrack that.
we'll
See,
hopefully dig that up and throw it up on the screen, and hopefully it's not like proves me wrong with some of these numbers here. All right, I'm gonna hope that this thing was okay on the
yeah, you
reliability
know,
standpoint.
I think the reliability was solid, but they are expensive cars to upkeep
Yeah.
if you're not doing a lot of the things on your own. Now, like I said, we did a lot of the pretty much all of the modifications here in the shop, and and I spent a decent amount of money on modifications as well. But you're gonna do that on any car,
If you're an
so
enthusiast, of course, that's just
yeah.
what happened.
So
That's part of owning a car. Like you said, certain cars are expensive to maintain,
I'll
and
say, yeah,
this particular era of German cars, I think, might be the worst that we have out there right now in terms of parts and their costs. So, the BMWs of this era, to keep one of those things on the road is.
yeah. Heard a
You
lot
guys
of
know, you
horror
BMW
stories.
guys know what I'm talking about. It's expensive. These things
Right.
aren't cheap. They're engineered well, but like I said, they are engineered to fail at some point, and that's just part of having a car. You got to replace stuff.
Yep, certainly. Um, you know, but I would say it was worth every penny I spent on it. Every single time to this day, I park this car, I'm walking away, I'm looking back and I'm smiling. Like this is a great looking car. I will admit silver is not my favorite color on a vehicle. But the lines on this coupe are just beautiful. And from, really every angle, it looks good to me. So I think that from that aspect, it was, I'm happy with the purchase, and it's been reliable. It's been a super fun car to drive. Like this thing could cut through traffic, and there's just no concern. You're always in control of his vehicle, and there's plenty of power to play with, and yeah, keeps you engaged, keeps you excited, and I wouldn't say 10 out of 10, but I don't even know. High eights.
The high eights is
High
pretty good.
eights
The high eights
for
is
a
good,
daily.
dude. For anything is great, and the fact that you were able to drive it every day,
Yep.
and
Through the rain, the
it's a sports
snow.
car.
I took
Exactly.
this thing snowboarding. I threw a roof rack on. I take it up the
Yeah.
mountains in the snow. You know.
Yeah, and you guys that have been out here, you know kind of how the roads are. It's a very diverse. It's an interesting place to be a car enthusiast, just with the way everything is. Like we were saying, it'll be sunny and then it'll be raining, or maybe it's snowing and then it iced over in a couple hours. So now you need to figure out how you're gonna get home. So,
Right.
we saw a Corvette yesterday. Went to the gym and there's a
Yeah.
Corvette on slicks chopping with a Vortec, and it's like that dude sat in that gym parking lot for at least an hour
Yeah. Wait for
and
that rain to
waited
stop.
for the rain to stop, and then driving it home, he was still probably like barely touching the throttle. So
Yep.
it's just something, not every car is. It's an interesting place to have cars. So the fact that this was kind of something that did it all is something special. I think it's interesting and good that he was able to have this experience.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Well. Yeah. I'll see if I could dig up some of those records.
Yeah.
I certainly spent a lot of money on it, but it was worth it. And for the price point that they are right now, if you could find a good one with not too high mileage, I would buy one for sure.
Yeah.
I think that'd
So
be great.
for the prospective buyers out there, what's what's like a mileage that you would be looking for to get one of these in?
Right now, because it's hard to find them low mileage,
Mm-hmm.
if I was to pick another one up, I'd probably get one at like 60K.
Yeah. Okay. And
Um,
what are those going for at that? And that's like on the lower end, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that you'll probably find them high teens, maybe low 20s, but
That's
not too much.
that's kind of amazing because to get it, like you said, it's 60K, the high teens, low 20s.
Yeah, for a 60,000 plus dollar car.
Yeah, that's pretty great, and you're not gonna have a lot of those problems that he's talking about. You're gonna need to address necessarily at that particular point. So it might be at that particular mileage a water pump and a couple other things away from going another 60,000 miles and
Yeah,
putting smiles every day. So that's
exactly. Especially if you're not driving it if you're not putting 20,000 miles
yeah,
a
I
year,
mean,
it's gonna
exactly,
last.
exactly. And
It's
this
gonna
dude,
last you a good 5+ years
yeah.
for a $20,000 car. I
Well, it
mean,
lasted you 5+ years, so I think
yeah,
putting
exactly.
20,000 miles on it every day.
Yeah,
So I
exactly.
think somebody could it could treat them very well. This is a good car.
Yeah.
It's basically the
Timeless design. Good job, Audi. Good work.